Thanks for stopping by, guys. It's Al here, playing some more Scrap Mechanic. Today we're going to be looking at a very, very large creation I'm working on. I'm working on it in small chunks, and I finished one of those chunks just recently, like a few minutes ago in a stream. I'm recording it now because I'm super hyped and super excited. So before we actually look at the creation itself, let's look at the graveyard that's been caused by it. Yeah. So it's a logic creation, of course, as you can probably see in front of me. There's a lot of logic in front of me. What is this? Well, let me try to explain. Actually, before I do that, I need to change something. So what is that? That was that, I do believe. Okay, so what is this? Secret's out. I'm working on an 8-bit computer in Scrap Mechanic. This is the first major bit of said computer. It is a Rom Reader. So I can put in a big flat plate like this with data on it. This has code already on it. This actually manipulates the Rom Reader itself. So basically what's already in this is the ROM reader itself can read what's here right now. Can read the commands go to, pause, start, and reset ROM. As well as I've already had some plans and stuff like that, but it understands 1 through 31. The numbers 1 through 31, which are used to select position. So quickly looking at what this card says, this card basically says on the first line it says go to 4. So 1 2 3 4, go to, I think this is 12. So we go down all the way to 12, go to, or no, wait, yeah, go to 7, which is up here, go to 1, which jumps it back here. It's very complex, and eventually there'll be more stuff out that way, like logic, like less than, equal than, greater to, which is pretty much what this is. This is an ALU, a logic unit, arithmetic logic unit, or whatever you call it, algorithmic logic unit. Anyway, a lot of complex shit. But looking at what this can do on its own, let's see. So I've already explained what that code does. It goes go to 4, go to 12, go to 7, go to 1, and it just loops. So if I start it, this is just a temporary button, don't mind that. Start it, start the clock, and actually look at this. And I'll read along with what it says. So go to 4, go to 12, go to 7, go to 1, and then it goes back to 1. So I can do that so far. But there's also some other things, like I said, pause and all that's in here. So if I need to ever pause it so that another part of the computer can do its logic instead of... So basically say if I need to calculate something with another part of the computer and I need to pause the ROM reader, I can use this code. So that's pause. So if I get rid of this, as it comes here, it'll come down, it'll hit pause, which stops the actual clock that's used by the ROM reader. And then I can just restart this. It'll start where it left off and just continue down the line. It'll get to the end, it'll hit this last dead bit, which does nothing, and it'll sit and flash. It'll actually sit and flash. Not a big issue, not worried about it. So this can hold 31 commands in this ROM itself. So, yeah. In theory, I could hook up ROM readers to ROM readers, get 62, which in theory would work, because they, I guess, to some extent are I how do you want to say, modular. In theory, I could. I'm not going to because that'd be way too complex. But for now, I can run 31 codes. And I can also jump back and forth. Eventually, I'll have like if then addition and stuff like that. But this is just the initial base feature, which for the most part will define everything else that goes into this creation. This is going to be a multi-part creation, and I'm going to be working on it quite often for the next while. So I'm sorry if you don't like logic and stuff like that, but that's what's going to be on the channel for a while, because this is on my mind, and with the success I've already had, I want to keep going with this project. I don't want it to die out like some of my other ones did. So reset ROM and start it up. So it's going to hit pause again, and then I can manually start it, which is something that the code can actually get. So if it pauses for some reason, and say it pauses and contacts another part of the computer that needs it, when that part's done, it can send a start code, which will start the ROM again once it's done calculating. I know it's really, really complex, and I don't want to go into too much detail, but let's at least try and explain this. So this itself right here is pretty much just the reader head. This looks at the plate on top, or the disk, or whatever you want to call it, the drive. And as it counts down, it reads to these. This is the out. So whatever is read gets sent out this way. And this is the central core, I guess you could say, of the computer, is what it'll eventually be. This is the inlet here. This little thing here is just a master reset. It makes sure that if anything goes wrong, you can just press this button and it'll full reset all the nor or bits throughout the entire system. That's what that's for. Anyway, so basically, data's read, comes out this port, goes into the core of the computer, and it goes in this port. And when it comes in, it goes, is this the command I know? And then it has the commands, which this one's go to, pause, start, and reset ROM, or what these are. And then if it has that code, it'll do that action to the bits in here. If it is a go-to function, it has to come over here. It waits for a number to be given, a number between 1 and 31, and that number is given. It will check it, and it'll convert it into an integer. So it convert a bunch of ones and zeros to the number 12, and that number hits these. These are steppers, so basically it counts. Actually, I need to get rid of this code, because it'll read this code and start doing things I don't want it to do. So this is a stepper. So if I start it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, so on. But if I use this, instead of just putting this digit into the first position, it will clear the stepper, stop the clock, put this value somewhere else in here. So if I put a button down and say I want to put data there, over there, but there, that'll send the data there, and then start the clock again from that position, which it started from the first position as well, because I forgot to clear it. And that's what it does. I'm sorry if I lost you. Probably did, because this is really confusing even for me sometimes. But as a gist, what it is able to do, so it's able to read a card, a data card, move. It can jump around on the card if it ever has to read anything. That's intended for if statements and stuff like that, which I'll be adding to the computer in the future. And also has some just generic codes that it can be sent for the sake of being able to control the ROM reader from other parts of the computer, including player input. So eventually there will be like a player interface where you can actually communicate directly to the ROM reader. If it's stopped, you can restart it manually and other things like that. A big project. I'm working on it. It's going to take forever, and it's probably what's going to take up the majority of this channel for the next long while. But I'm really happy with how this turned out. So let's see. What was it? Go to that. I'm just going to paint this up. I'm going to hit run. Actually, I'm going to turn off the clock, reset this, put in a data, reset that. And there we go. What have I gotten myself into? But I am going to have to end out this episode here. Hopefully you enjoyed this, and hopefully you enjoy what the project is going to become in the future. So if you did enjoy this episode, please leave a like. If you have suggestions for future episodes, please leave them in the comments down below. Enjoy the channel, enjoy what I'm doing, please subscribe. It helps out a lot. And right now, share this up the channel the most. So if you do want to help out the channel, please share this episode with a friend. Thank you for stopping by. Thanks for sticking around. And until next time, peace.